is Sony sabotaging its own Spider-Man universe? With Kraven the Hunter setting records as one of the biggest comic book movie flops, Sony's CEO Tony Vinciquerra has sparked a storm by claiming critics and audiences don't matter. But is the audience really to blame, or is Sony missing the mark? Stick around, because we're breaking down the controversy, the backlash, and what this means for the future of Sony's Spider-Man universe. Just a few weeks ago, on December 13th, Kraven the Hunter hit theaters, and let's just say it didn't go as planned. The movie had one of the worst openings in comic book movie history, bombing both domestically and internationally. Critics panned it, audiences rejected it, and Sony's Spider-Man universe, missing Spider-Man yet again, took another hit. But instead of reflecting on what went wrong, Sony CEO Tony Vinciquerra doubled down. He called Kraven a fabulous movie and insisted that critics and audiences were simply wrong. And it doesn't stop there. Vinciquerra also defended Madame Web. Despite a slightly better reception than Kraven, Madame Web still struggled at the box office and faced mixed reviews, continuing Sony's streak of underwhelming spin-offs. This begs the question, is the problem really the audience, or is it Sony's approach to these movies? Let's take a closer look at Sony's track record. We've seen major flops like Morbius, which became a meme more than a movie. Remember the whole "it's Morbin time" craze? Not exactly what Sony was hoping for. Kraven the Hunter joins the list of underwhelming releases, with Madame Web unable to change the narrative earlier in the year. But Vinciquerra's comments are what really struck a nerve. By dismissing the audience's opinions, he's essentially saying, we know better than the people who actually watch the movies. That's not a great look. Audiences invest their time and money. They want stories that connect, characters they can root for, and films that live up to the Spider-Man legacy. Saying their opinions don't matter is like telling your customers, thanks for the money, but we don't care what you think. And what about the critics? Sure, not every critic gets it right, but dismissing all feedback as unfair judgment feels like deflection. After all, some criticism can be constructive. If multiple sources are pointing out issues like weak scripts, poor pacing, or lackluster villains, maybe there's something to it. Here's why this matters to fans. The Spider-Man universe has so much potential. Spider-Man is one of the most beloved superheroes in the world, and Sony has access to an incredible roster of characters. Yet, instead of delivering compelling stories, they've given us mediocre spin-offs without the one character tying it all together, Spider-Man himself. Fans want to root for these movies, but they're frustrated. Why? Because instead of addressing the real issues, like inconsistent storytelling or focusing on lesser-known characters without proper build-up, Sony seems to be pointing fingers at everyone else. Alienating your audience is not the way to win back trust. Marvel's success with the MCU has proven that listening to fans and critics can lead to better movies and bigger box office wins. So, why isn't Sony following suit? As we head into 2025, Sony has some decisions to make. They've already shown their willingness to take risks, but without listening to audiences, those risks might not pay off. Sony holds the keys to iconic characters like Venom and Miles Morales, so there's still hope for this universe, if they get right. So, what's the takeaway here? Sony has an incredible opportunity to build something great, but dismissing audiences and critics is not the way to do it. The Spider-Man universe needs a course correction, and fast. What do you think? Is Sony right to blame the audience, or should they take a hard look at their approach? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more pop culture updates. Until next time, Marvel fans, stay amazing.